Hey, what's up, my friends? Kris Krohn here, and I'm joined again by my good friend Jerry Norton, the Flipping King. And today we're going to be talking about the right way to flip a contract, because there's absolutely a right way to do that. And then hands down, there's a super popular wrong way. Jerry's going to teach us the right way today. All right, my friends, Jerry's going to be breaking it down. First of all, before we talk about the right way and the wrong way, what do you mean by flipping a contract, and can you make money doing this thing?
Yeah, so this is a fast way to make money in real estate. It's not a long-term strategy. It's a short-term strategy where you get in, you get out. You don't own it, you don't fix it, you don't do any of that, you don't fund it. It's just a really simple, quick way to make a lot of money on one deal, and then you move on and do another deal. We call it wholesaling.
Okay, so wholesaling is essentially where you go out there, you find, this isn't my expertise, by the way, but because I've only done it a handful of times, I have my other strategies that I rock out, but essentially you find a wicked good deal, and then there's a way to flip it for money.
That's right. It's basically you're flipping a piece of paper, not the property. So real simple, you get a contract just like you would on any deal where you've got a seller and a buyer. You're the buyer, you sign a contract to buy that. It's a fully executed purchase and sale contract. And then once you have that baby's money now, right? Think about it. Another investor would love to have that contract.
And you're basically saying, if this deal could make $50,000, if I just give it to you, will you give 10 grand of it
10 to me,
right?
Yeah, that's right.
I got a guy in our community right now. He's been a YouTube fan. He jumped into my program, and he's in the process of just actually flipping a contract for $50,000.
Yeah,
so
that's it. I mean, investors are looking for deals. So if you have that deal, they will pay you to basically step in your shoes, now become the new buyer and take that deal, and they'll pay you for it.
By the way, you got to wait for the end of the video, because actually Jerry's going to do something super special. He's going to show you how you can get paid $10,000 just for serving up a really good deal. And so we'll get there in a second. But really here, we want to talk about the right way and the wrong way. What, first of all, is the wrong way? Like, what's the big mistake that people make out there?
And I see so many people do this, and it just like tears at me when they do this. So if you think about it, when you have a contract, there's a seller and a buyer, and then there's going to be a closing, right? You go to that closing, there's a title or escrow company, they're going to facilitate the closing. Well, normally the buyer has to come to that closing with money to pay the seller, right? Well, let's say that you've got an investor that wants that deal, but you don't structure it correctly, and you go to the closing, and you actually have to do two closings. One is the buyer with the seller, the original seller, you're the buyer. So you have to come with money to the closing. And then let's say your second closing with your investor cash buyer is after that one. So you would then turn around and do a second closing, and then they would be buying it from you. The problem with this double closing is that the biggest thing is you have to come with the money to buy the deal, even though you're going to turn around and sell it even 5 minutes later. You still have to come with the money.
Is this double closing even legal? Because I've heard some people say it's not.
Oh yeah, a double closing is totally a standard way to do it, because you're closing as the buyer and then you're closing as the seller. What used to happen is they would merge them all into one, and now they stopped doing that. Title companies won't do that anymore. It was really nice because you could fund the first closing with the cash from the second one, but they won't do that anymore. I mean, it's really rare to do that. So the problem with this, though, is not only do you have to have the cash to go to the closing, but you're going to pay fees at that closing as the buyer. Then you're going to turn around and pay fees again as the seller. It cuts into your profit.
Yeah, so what I hear you saying is what people are doing wrong is they're saying, hey, I'm not planning on really doing the deal anyway. I'm going to hand it off, but I'm going to go through all the trouble of saying, now I got to come up with the cash, and I'm going to cut into my profits with all these extra fees. But you're using a system that basically clears all of that away. It is the solution, the right way. What is the right way?
So the right way is to do what we call a single closing using an assignment contract. So rather than do two separate contracts, one as a buyer, one as a seller, you're going to merge your cash buyer with the original seller using a document called an assignment contract. And that's simply, to put it in really simple terms, it's basically saying, hey, you cash buyer, I'm going to give you all the rights of my contract, but you got to step in and become the new buyer instead of me.
And you got to pay me.
And when we go to closing, you bring the money, and then you also bring money to pay me the agreed amount, that like the $10,000.
So the deal is like the treasure chest of the, like I always talk about finding a good deal is like pirate booty. Like I'm going hunting for buried treasure. I find me some buried treasure in my property. and this assignment contract is basically the way that I can turn it into cash with hands off, not even needing to do the deal. Jerry, this is
That's
important because a lot of you that are out there that are watching this, I mean, I've got older teens watching this. I got people in their 20s and 30s. And the number one thing that I hear is, oh, Kris, I don't have cash. I don't have credit.
Don't have the money.
How do I get going faster? And so I love that you've shared with us today the right way and the wrong way to flip a contract. And I want to thank you for doing that. And it's time to get to that bonus.
Oh yeah.
Listen, whether you got money and credit, or if you're like me when I started, no money, no credit, you start off like Jerry and I when we were younger, like, then what I want Jerry to do here is actually explain what you can do right now if you're in that situation to actually land some quick money fast in the game of real estate.
That's right. So here's the deal, guys. I'm looking for deals. I do deals all over the country. These are fix and flip deals. And my biggest problem right now, Kris, is I need more deals. So that's where you can come in here. If you've got the time and the energy to go out there, and I'll show you how to do this. I'll even give you software on how to find these deals. You go find the deals, then you bring them to me. I'll be your buyer, and I'll pay you $10,000 for every deal that meets my criteria.
So just pause for a second. I mean, I've known Jerry a long time, but this is actually kind of crazy because in the assignment world, people used to, get away with paying $3,000, $5,000. Why are you paying so much money?
Well, because listen, I want you to be excited about this. I want you to be motivated. I want you to go out there and find these deals. And you know what? I've got enough profit on these deals that I can gladly pay you $10,000 because now I don't have to go find the deal. You found it for me.
Now, Jerry, what if they're actually finding, let's say they just find, they're out there, right? The deal of the decade comes along every day. So let's say they find the deal of the decade and they're like, oh my gosh, what if I don't want to share it with Jerry for 10 grand? What if I want to do the deal and make all the money? Can they do that?
Oh yeah, you have the contract, so if you want to keep that deal, if you want to wholesale it to somebody else or whatever, the nice thing about what I'm offering is you don't have to worry about finding a buyer. I'll be your buyer. So if you don't want to have to even worry about going out there and networking and finding other investors, cash buyers that you can take your deals to, and you just want to bring them to me, then I'm your man. Bring those deals to me, I'll pay you $10,000.
Dude, thanks, Jerry. Listen up, guys. I want you to click the link in the description below. That's where you're gonna go to get the rest of the details. If you are not a subscriber, fix that right now. I've got Jerry coming on doing a few more videos. If you're liking this topic, if you wanna learn everything about flipping, I'm gonna have Jerry lay it all down, break it down for you. So make sure you subscribe, but click that link, get on that free webinar where Jerry can actually show you exactly how he can pay you $10,000 for him being the buyer on every one of those deals. Now that's what I talk about, making money fast on flipping contracts.